Clerk will call roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Seabrooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner
Here.
Precinct 3. Katie Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Pastor Barry Pratt from the Martin United Methodist Church. Welcome, sir. After the invocation, please stand for our pledges.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, as we stand in a time of economic uncertainty, may we find comfort in knowing that your steadfast love wraps us in your arms. Grant us then, with that comfort, to move forward without fear. Teach us to rest our lives and our choices on you, who so richly provide for us and then challenges us to be faithfully providers for others. In these moments, may each of us be reminded that we are called to be good stewards and to share in the responsibility for making the future one of justice and hope. So in light of our task, grant us discernment in the process. For in all these things, O God, we are reminded that you are our source of meaning to our lives. For you are our God, and we are your people. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Mr. Manius, agenda announcements. One or more?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have one or more items to bring to you this morning.
You'll slip back here one of these days, and we'll catch
All right,
you.
but
Don't worry about it.
Not in the near future, though. Members of the Court, we have one item. This is item under Juvenile Services. It's item 8G1. This is on the consent agenda. It concerns a contract with UNT Health Science Center. We're going to ask that we hold that item for 1 week. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of March the 22nd.
Move approval. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have one proclamation this morning, and I want to read that into the record, and as I do, I'm going to ask Patsy Thomas to come forward, and she will, after that, introduce some folks who've helped with this project. Tarrant Cares Month. Whereas many Tarrant County residents need help from local resources 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas citizens face challenges as they seek assistance for their families and friends who require community resources, and whereas citizens want quick and easy access to information about the available resources, and whereas the Tarrant County community can improve the ways we link our citizens to the programs that can serve them, and whereas increasing numbers of Tarrant County residents turn to the computer to search for, at least most of us, for information and assistance, and whereas Tarrant Cares is a new website developed for all citizens of Tarrant County, offering information in multiple languages and accommodating those who are blind or hearing impaired, and whereas Tarrant Cares offers local resources to help families, veterans, those with developmental disabilities, children, seniors, adults with disabilities, and victims of domestic violence and abuse, as well as information about public health and the community correction system. And whereas Tarrant Cares offers an information library and a personal medical record, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, recognizes that Tarrant Cares offers one resource, countless solutions, and encourage the use of www.tarrantcares.org as a resource for finding valuable information and services to improve people's lives. Further, that we do hereby proclaim April 2011 as Tarrant Cares Month in Tarrant County, in witness whereof we've heretofore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 29th day of March 2011, and I'll move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And Patsy, I just have a copy of the resolution proclamation right here. But I do want to say, before I let Patsy say a few words, this project has been ongoing now for, I guess, almost 7-8 months since our September.
6.5.
6.5 months. We try to keep things pretty precise, so I guess I'll take that as a more precise.
6 months, 2 weeks tomorrow.
And I like, and the reason she knows this is because it's probably much like the birth of a child, and she is anxious about getting this thing out and getting it going. Patsy and her and several other folks from around the community have been tremendous assets in this deal. I'm particularly proud of this for several reasons. One is I truly do believe that it is going to be a partner with our 211, which is already a strong asset for our community. It's going to allow individuals who are caregivers to be able to go and to find information that will assist them in the care that they're providing. It will help individuals understand things that they may be going through much better and where to go for services. And I think as we see reductions in federal and state assistance, that these types of assets are going to be even more critical to our community and to filling that gap as those services and knowing where to turn. The other thing that I am especially proud of, and again I think Tarrant County leads the way in this, is the generosity of nonprofits and other organizations. This is an effort that was put together by the community. And while, we may have urged the community to go forward, it's truly one of those things where the community put together the funds. This is not a government-funded effort. It is truly a community-funded effort. It is a collaboration where a lot of folks got together and I think took a good product and made it a great product. And I want to thank everyone, Patsy, especially you, for agreeing to kind of head this effort from the very beginning. We felt like that the Mental Health Connection and your efforts were going to be key as we move this forward, and we were right. Y'all have done a great job, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk a little bit about it.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate those kind words. And I do want to recognize your efforts in this. Commissioners, I'm sure you're aware that, he heard about Network of Care through his work with NACO and brought it to us a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, to see if it was something that we thought would be valuable for this community. And a group of providers met and agreed that it would be. So here we stand today, really ready to launch something that's going to be just an incredible resource. Before I say more, I would like to recognize some of the folks who have helped make this happen. If you all would stand, our leadership team members. Jerry Mossman, Deborah Caddy, Becca Meyer, Jennifer Gilley, Susan Garnett, Kay Barkin, and a host of others have served as part of the leadership team. There are 9 components of Tarrant Cares. We're the first county and the first community in the country, of course we are, to implement all of the sites at the same time. We're launching tomorrow at 1:30 at the Tarrant County Public Health Department. I'm so excited to be part of this project because I've worked in this community professionally as a volunteer for 30-plus years, and have worked with many of you, including you, Commissioner Brooks, on issues where we said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a searchable, geographic-specific resource directory of health and human resources, and we have it today. And these folks and about 180 more made that happen in only 6 months' time. It is not one person was paid to do any of this work. It's a complete volunteer effort. Not one public dollar went into this. It was total private money. I think it's just an incredible success story, and I hope you all, everybody, will go and look at tarrantcares.org. There's something for everyone. We have Trilogy here in town this week. They've been training people. They'll be at various county departments all day today. Every person we've talked to in the last several days have had some story of how it's going to be such a wonderful resource for them personally, for their families, for the people they work with. So I want to say thank you to you, Judge Whitley, for helping us make this happen.
Thank you. You have before you the consent agenda with the one item that was noted earlier being removed from that, item 8G1.
Move approval of the consent agenda except for the item the judge just mentioned.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Miscellaneous.
Members of the Court, we have one additional item for you this morning, requesting that the Commissioners Court receive and file the Tarrant County Pretrial Services FY 2010 Annual Statistical Report.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Tidwell.
We have two items for the court to consider this morning. The first is to receive and file the auditor's report of the controls over the district clerk's family, sections, fees, and court cost. The district clerk's response is attached. We have worked with Mr. Wilder and his staff extensively on this. He's in agreement with our recommendations, and where our current limitations allow us to move forward, we're moving forward, and we're attempting to identify ways to move forward in all of the areas so that we can correct any issues that we have associated with the things that we have in the report. Be happy to answer any questions if I could.
Move approval. I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our other item is to ask the court to receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the period ended February 2011. And again, if you have any questions.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Phillips.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
It is requested that Commissioners Court approve change order number 2 to the Thomas S. Byrne Construction Management Contract as it relates to the construction of the Medical Examiner's Office expansion project included in the 2006 Capital Improvement Program.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
It is requested that Commissioners Court approve change order number 2 to the Gilbane Building Company Construction Management Contract as it relates to the construction of the new jail building that's included in the 2006 Capital Improvement Program.
I move approval. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Glenn.
Move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I have 3 additional items for the court. Pardon me. The second item, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for the 322nd District Court. Judge Berger has a court reporter who's going to retire at the end of this month with 400 vacation hours. The impact to the general fund is estimated to be a little bit more than $17,000, excluding fringe benefits.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The next item, we're asking the court to approve a subsidized work experience program agreement with the Workforce Solutions of Tarrant County. If approved, this agreement will enable the Workforce Solutions to work with us to place youth ages 17 to 21 in participating departments. This program is designed to help youth, of course, acquire skills that they can take with them that will enable them to be successful in the workplace. This agreement has been approved by legal counsel.
I think it's an excellent program. I move approval.
Is this program has anything to do with our intern program, or is this the same thing?
No, sir. This is not the intern program. We have in the past, Commissioner, worked with Workforce Solutions to employ summer youth, and so really this is just sort of an extension of that. And those youth who participate in the program will actually have assignments that will last up to 8 weeks.
I see. I move for approval.
We have a motion. You're going to be a
second.
second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our last item, we're asking the court to approve the New York State Public Goods Pool Payer Election application for purposes of reducing the surcharge associated with self-funded employee/retiree medical claims payments in the state of New York. That's a mouthful. In effect, what we're asking is that the court approve this agreement in the event that we have any members who incur services in New York State. The state of New York actually charges an assessment. By signing this agreement, the assessment that we would agree to would be a 9.63% assessment. Without the agreement, we would pay a 24% assessment. It's important for the court to know that we have not had any claims incurred in New York State by any of the PEBC groups. But this would be in place in the event that there were claims
So
that
if
were
any
incurred.
of our employees, dependents went to school in New York and ended up incurring any costs associated with that, then the fee would be 9.63% versus 24%.
Yes, sir.
And there's no cost to us
No, sir.
otherwise.
No, sir. Other than just the claims, of course.
Yeah. I mean, unless we've got somebody in New York who requires medical service, there's no cost to us, period.
That's correct.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fickus,
I have.
you're working on Whitley Road.
Working on Judge Whitley's road.
Now, it ain't Judge Whitley's Road. Don't be starting that.
This is a road he created when he was commissioner.
No, he didn't. You know, I can't hold you in contempt for
not.
making false statements
He
up
did
here
not.
on this.
I-
Can I get him arrested?
But we're doing an interlocal with the city, and I would move for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and I'll again reiterate that I don't have anything to do with this road. I don't.
Your name?
Well, it was named by some other Whitley. It wasn't me.
First time I ever drove on it, you were commissioner.
I can't help it that you had a sheltered life and never got outside of South Lake. Please
All
vote.
right, fellas.
Motion passes unanimously. Appointments. There being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have one item to talk about this morning very briefly. The legislative memorandum from Mr. Mendez is in your packet. I would like to point out that this week is the week where HB 1, which is the budget bill, has moved from the committee to the full House, and we believe that it will take the entire week before it eventually comes out of the House. I'll be more than happy to try to answer any questions that you might have as it relates to the memo. Hearing none, Your Honor, that's all we have this morning.
Being no further business, we will recess from our open session and proceed to closed session. Having returned from closed session, we don't have any action items, but one thing that I recalled under legislative issues, last week I had lunch with Victor Vandergriff, and he brought up a bill that Representative Anchia from Dallas County had filed regarding NTTA and the possibility of them going through state sunset. And that was not something that they looked with too much favor on, nor I think would we. Victor was suggesting that we might, as opposed to that, say that from the four-county area, that the counties, we're going to we'll continue to watch NTTA as we have through our appointments, but that we might suggest internally that they look at about 6 different items. One was the use of consultants versus actually hiring some folks in-house. And that could be in the way of lawyers, it could be in the way of engineers, it could be in the way of other management type or other services that they're providing. Up to this time, really, NTTA has pretty much outsourced absolutely everything, and what they're finding is in some of those instances they're paying a whole lot more than what it would cost if they just had, at least for some of the routine services, they had people in-house. Secondly, they wanted more transparency on their financial information, and to Victor's credit, we've been looking for better cash flow documents from them for many years, and they're getting better, but they still have a way to go. From their consultant or their procurement services, they have what they call legacy contractors over there, and that means that there's been attorneys, they've been dealing with the same attorneys since they're
Attorneys, engineers.
Yeah, and so they're really wanting to go through a selection process, and as they go through that, also be conscious of minority firms and other folks that are out there. Funding alternatives with the cash flow shortage. One of the things I think they need to be looking at is how they might partner with other, whether it be either for-profit, non-profit, or governmental entities to build roads, because they're going to be out of money for about the next 3 to 4 years at a minimum. Also, administrative fees. There's been a lot of publicity about some of their fines. They lack the ability to be able to go out and actually collect that, so they need to address that internally and then make some recommendations, and then the whole organizational structure. And again, that's, part of that could be their insourcing and outsourcing, but it's something to look at. So I told Victor that I would communicate that with y'all. If you have any heartburn or concerns, then you can do that. I think the bill is actually up for hearing tomorrow. I did get a call from Keith Self. He agreed with these things. I know he's also talked with Clay Jenkins and Mary Horn, and they're all on the same page also. But that's more just, again, kind of an informational deal than anything else from that perspective. So that's kind of an update on that. And Victor, again, talked with me last Friday that I talked to them about that. There being no further business, we're adjourned.
Okay.